What are the three most important things in real estate valuation? Location, location, location. What are the three most important things with business valuation? Ooh, this is harder. It's not location, location, location. Yes. Capital assets. That's better. These are cash flow. These are better than what I got. What I got is timing, timing, timing. So I'm going to encourage you to play as if business ownership isn't a gamble enough, which it is. I'm going to encourage you to play the transfer timing slots game. Because can we all agree that at some point this century, we're going to transfer our business? Is Moses? I didn't see Moses on the registration list. So at some point this century, see, I catch these owners that said, well, if I ever transfer my business, oh, wait a minute. There is no if. It's a matter of when. So the way to maximize your transfer, your eventual certain transfer, is to play the transfer timing slots game. So what I'm going to encourage you to do is get these three slots in alignment if you want to maximize your transfer. That's what we're talking about here. The first is your personal sense of timing. So you have to be ready to go. What does that mean? You need a plan B. When I first got into the investment banking business 20-some years ago, what was the average age of the owner who was selling his or her business 20 years ago? Anybody know? 60. Well, I'm going to round up. It was about 102. And what we had was, we had these mainly old white men who says, oh, I'm never leaving this. And so, of course, rigor mortis would set in, and then finally they'd just be wheeled out with their desk, you know. And well, now what's the average age? 20 years later, it's about 52. Aha, the boomers have a plan B. The boomers use the business, at least the boomers that are playing this game, use the business to generate enough value and wealth to eventually get out of the business. And they have other things to do. Sometimes it's philanthropic, sometimes it's personal, I want to see the world. We have other things to do, right? So get your personal sense of timing. Get a plan B. If you don't have a plan B, here's what all those older white guys said to me back then was, well, if I sell the business, I'll die. Well, you know, they looked around the country club and it was true. Selling the business to them was the first step toward the elephant graveyard. You know, they knew that the day they sold that business, that was their first step. And in fact, it was, because we all have to fight against the problem, right? To keep our minds young and active. And as soon as you lose that big problem, you don't have a plan B problem, that tension. You think you don't need that tension, you have to have that tension to solve something and constantly push yourself. The second thing is what the Midas managers say, our heroes in this game of men and women who every business they get in, they create substantial value in. Always have your business ready to transfer, regardless if you intend to transfer that business in the next year or two. Hey, what's the downside? You have a more valuable business that functions well, and you don't need to be there. That's what it means by always having your business ready to transfer. What do we still catch as investment bankers with most business owners out there? You ask them, when do you plan on transferring your business? What's unilaterally the number of years that most of them say? 5 years. When we go back 5 years later, what do they say? How many years? 5. We call them the forever 5. They are the forever 5. And this is just the way many of our owners are, because our owners don't start with the finish. Most of us don't start with the end in mind and then backward schedule to today. If you do it that way, you know when you plan on transferring the business. But most of us get into business for other reasons, as we said. Anybody know what the third slot is, by far the most important slot? Opportunity knocking, the market. So it is in the sequence of importance, personal be the size of a dime, business be the size of a dollar, and market be the size of the screen. And we're going to see that on the next slide. So you want to be personally ready, have your business ready, because when the market's ready for you, you want to be ready. Because this is where you get the real dramatic sort of liquidity event exits. And there's I have a lot to say about the market, because we're in the middle of a period right now that we need to focus on.